Hey guys, it's me, Jacob, again. I watched the last video that I did about 2 months ago, and so embarrassing. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get used to listening to myself speak and the strange way that I say everything. Um, but regardless, I started this channel, and I have made some progress on my blog, and that's kind of what this channel is about right now. And so I didn't actually even finish watching the entire video because it was kind of you know. I'm kind of trying to figure out how to even grow this channel, what I even want to grow it into, but mostly just how to even grow it. But um, I guess that's not that related. I didn't really plan anything for this video. I just said I would make a video. But I have done a lot of work on my blog lately. So, what is that? Why is that super exciting? Well, the super exciting thing about it is that I actually added a new section to my blog, which is about the blog itself. What's super cool about this is that in this whole thing, I go through basically how I made the blog on the blog. It's pretty like Inception sort of meta there, where it's just like the blog is about the blog is about the blog. But some of the cool things about this are I added this button on the top of all of my new all of my project related articles about Pi Harbor itself, where you can just download all the code that I used, or like 95% of the code I used. And of course, if you do this, it's gonna still be pretty hard for you to actually get it to work because there's so many moving parts. But it's kind of just like an interesting thing to go about making a blog and then releasing all the code, trying to do it in a somewhat secure way. Some of this is still kind of like unrefined. I tried to go through and edit it, but you know, uh, I think there's some pretty good points in these articles. So the refactor is basically complete now. With the refactor complete, I'm going to, I'm already actually in the process of working on this application. I quite eagerly, maybe over eagerly, put up on the internet already. Although I always do that with stuff. I just have stuff that's incomplete on the internet just because I like to know that it's like all the way from end to end sort of working, more or less. But yeah, I started working on that application again. I have a couple different applications I'm slowly working through, and the thing that's special about all of these is now that I have this blog set up this way. Give me a second. I need to make sure that. All right, cool. We're recording with the right microphone. Okay, sorry about that. Now that I have the blog set up this way, I think I'm gonna try and do all of my code in the same way, where I write it, I get it working, and then I release a bunch of articles on it on my blog and allow people to download it completely open source and like for free. And I'll probably make a GitHub eventually for all of these different projects. But for now you can just download the zip. But to talk, I guess, I kind of want to keep this short. I might actually go more into depth about how the blog works, but I'm just going to kind of come through here. You can see I even added my YouTube channel on here. That's pretty cool. But yeah, this is just an overview. This first page is an overview of my blog. I talk about how I use Nginx, how I use Docker, how I use Amazon S3. There are some things that I don't necessarily use for this blog specifically yet, but I included in the code anyways because I'm going to use them in probably most of my applications. Um, so, anyways, this one's not too long. The next article is about the backend Fast API code specifically, and what's really cool about this is kind of the meat and potatoes of all of your applications. But I'm just really happy with how this is turned out, how this stuff looks, and it's kind of hard to actually edit everything, but I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to just like have. It's a very complicated thing to make software. It's even more complicated to make software that can basically um, explain itself, or make software that distributes itself. So this blog has been a very significant challenge for me um, because it's hard to actually make code in a way where you can actually share it with other people, and you're not afraid of them like hacking your stuff, or maybe I mean, maybe I should be afraid, and probably always going to be a little bit afraid of that. But I try to avoid it, and I design things in a way that that I think will work pretty well. But it's just cool because for new people coming into the programming space, I feel like one of the things I wanted the most from anything was just I wanted to see what someone's code was capable of doing. I wanted a reason to read their code. And when you see the visual stuff that the code does, it's like, oh wow, you know, the code is showing itself on the website. So it's really cool in that sense. But so I go through all of the Fast API code I have here, and for my website, I use a whole lot of. This is actually a little bit old, this image, but it's okay. I knew stuff like that was going to probably happen to some extent. It's so hard to keep up with everything. But basically, I use a shared library, and that's really simple when you get down to it. It's just you have code that you want to use in a lot of different places. And I've had pieces of code that, like this S3 client, I've used so many times, and I really feel like the joy of programming in so many ways is about building endlessly upon yourself with reckless abandon. It's just like, enterprise programming can be challenging because other people don't understand how to use a lot of the stuff that you've made. And since you made it, it's so natural for you to understand it. Or sort of. It's easier to understand it. But anyways, there is a lot of great code here. Like this code is great. And some of the patterns in this are like super useful if you're trying to write async code. But yeah, I'm really proud of this. I'll go into more detail, I think, with all of this, like a deep dive. Like I could spend hours explaining this stuff, honestly, because there's a lot of depth to everything that I'm doing here. This is like years of effort. Obviously, this website is not the only thing that I've done at all. It's just sort of an accumulation of effort in different ways. Like some of these things I've been using, I've made all sorts of different types of programs. I've had programs that basically like invest on Robinhood. I have programs that invest in Coinbase Pro. I've made websites. I've made web scrapers. I was scraping YouTube at one point in time. I made a program that generated one of those like graphing videos. You know how there's like a lot of graphing videos on YouTube that like show, maybe like the population, immigration stuff over time. Um, I've made my own stuff to do that before, and just after doing a lot of that stuff, there are some pieces of code that are just so useful everywhere that they've made it all the way to this blog and to the entire world, whoever cares to copy and use it, um, because they're just useful. I do a lot of stuff sort of like this, where I just take someone else's library and then I add the word client at the end of it, and then I create a class, and then I create a couple methods that I need to use it. Like this is like a pretty useful class if you understand what Send in Blue is. All it does is send emails. And this is super useful if you're trying to make like a web application where people, sign up and they verify their email, or they order something and they get the word is a transaction email. That's the word they like to use for it. So this is just like pretty cool code, and there's a whole nother section here where I get maybe a little bit more into some inheritance even, because when you start writing enough code, you just start being like, what can I do everywhere? Yeah, I love some of this stuff. It's so cool. It's so cool to see it. I love this website too. I love that it's just a light yellow color. It's so easy on the eyes. Although I think I want to add a dark mode, because I like dark mode a lot on a lot of stuff, because when you look at screens so much, it's hard. So yeah, I mean, I'll just take you through the rest of this. I think the reason this is so slow is because I'm recording also. But maybe, I don't have the most expensive servers or anything like that. But yeah, I even go into and share my front-end code, which, believe me, my front-end code is the worst stuff. It works, but it's like... It's hard, dude. Yeah, this is one of the ones I didn't even really read through. But yeah, I figured I'd just make another video. Make another video. Get back out there. I'm doing stuff. I did take probably a good month off from programming anything. But the thing with this blog is, this is the website, right? But there's actually more code that I use to generate these articles, because these articles are basically just a JSON document that's stored in S3, but it could be stored in MongoDB, which I increasingly use MongoDB more for things. But yeah, it's just pretty cool to see, it get all the way here. I'll give this a gander, give this a press, and see that we do indeed download it. I could show maybe on my computer, like you click this open. Yeah, that's probably alright. This as you can see, I've tested this a couple times, but this is the latest one that I unzipped. And so this is everything you get. It's just like, it's got a lot of the code in it. It's got all these different classes, RabbitMQ, MongoDB. And then it's got the, fast API code, some of the init scripts. Super cool. So yeah, that's cool, just showing off that zip. Here's the Docker file. Some of this Docker file stuff won't work because I didn't share my certs or anything, you know. So you have to get your own certs for stuff. But, you know, the application I'm working on right now is sort of a chat based app. And I think what I really want to do is actually I want to collaborate with some people on another website. I want to find people that want to kind of like do some programming too with me, and we can work together and collaborate. And oh yeah, this guy. This file is all about. I use Docker for everything, and so I wrote like a Python script that helps me do it faster. This is the kind of stuff that I don't know how to describe it, but these are like very personal little doohickey tools that Python programmers make. Other people will never use them probably because it takes more effort to understand what someone's doing oftentimes and to trust it than to actually just make your own, right? But these type of things make you so much faster as a developer, you know. So, and obviously there's all this stuff for the front end too. There's the Nginx. Huh. Oh, there's the React Router Nginx conf. This is strange. That's definitely not the start script. That's the build script again. Yeah, so again, yeah, it looks like there's some issues with this. Just something that I'd probably need to rerun to get this. Basically, this article just has some of the wrong data in it. This 141. Very interesting. Anyways, sorry. So that's pretty much it. I think I'm gonna start posting more. Pretty busy, so I don't really edit stuff too much, and yeah. But I'm just gonna keep doing this. But if you guys want to work on something, I'm gonna program something together. If you have any questions, communicate with me. Whatever way you want. Like I said, I'm gonna have that chat app soon, and you know, we have YouTube. You could send a comment, or whatever. So, anyways, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for joining me, though.